Gemini was brought out to consumers a few weeks back, and my first question was, when can enterprise get that? But then again, when can I get that, or when can more insights and strategy get that? So, what's your take on this? Is it swinging you around the room so far, digitally transforming every one of your enterprise use cases?
My take on it is I'm so glad we have it. So in docs, I have to say it is really, really good. Um, Better than any of, a chat GPT or anything that just doesn't have the same kind of context that you have. And we can go through all of the security and stuff, all of the things that Google does with this, where your information is actually secure and it's not being used to train the models. So whereas, I can't go into chat GPT or something else and put information on something I'm researching unless it's public information. But even if I do, it still spits out, something that is, I don't really have much to work with. Um, Gemini is pretty solid with what it gives you to work with. And so I've been really impressed in docs. Sheets, for me, this is like definitely going to be a learning curve. I think that, it's probably a lot of this it's just a matter of time, I think, on their end and on users' end of how much is it going to spit out that is really usable, and then also how much time does it take for users to really figure out what are the right prompts, how do you ask for the right thing, how do you tweak it. Even we saw this with Adobe Firefly, like there's even forums that you can go in and people give tips for ask this, and then Adobe got really smart with the way that they added the tweaks for like
Yeah.
aperture and things like that. So I think we'll see that evolve too, but so far I'm a huge fan. Thank you for getting it for us. I know we only had this very short window of them rolling it out and it being available. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I like that they have these two models of the $30 per user per month. That's kind of the enterprise level for the heavy users. And then they have the new tier, which is the $20 per user per month. And that's limited to 1,000 actions. And so if somebody's not using it a ton, and that's just a little bit better of a value for kind of a light user. And I think that's smart for them to offer that. So far, good experience.
How do you know if you're using Gemini versus using Bard on Workspace?
So Bard and Duet have both transitioned to Gemini now.
Okay, so I know we pay for it. Does that mean we're using it right now?
Yes.
Ah, okay. That's great. I need to go dive in then because I really wasn't sure. And just real quick for our users, how are you finding it useful in word processing? Is it creating when you start from scratch? Is it making your writing easier to digest, more formal, less formal?
You can do a number of things. There's like a little icon, which is actually not super visible. It took me a minute, and that may be a little feedback that they'll get. When you first open a document, it has a very visible thing, and you can ask it. It's the help me write, and that's where you can enter a prompt. But in an existing document, you have to kind of look for a place for it to kind of pop up, and then you can ask, make more formal. It'll give you kind of the options of help me write. You can summarize things, you can shorten. I've had to a couple of times, and I'm going to say this could be like
Yeah.
I'm learning it. I've had to a couple of times close the document and reopen it for that to pop up again.
Interesting.
I'm just learning to use it though, so I'm not putting any judgment on it yet, just because that could be, I'm using it for the first time, and that could be me. From just opening up a new document, it's very, very visible and easy to deal with. I have found if you click on something and highlight something, you will get some prompts that will come up. So I think I'm learning the tricks, and so after I have like a week or so, I'll do more like a deeper, kind of review of it. But
Yeah, I think our listeners would love to hear your take on where it's most useful and how you use it. And again, everybody's use case is different, but we're creating a ton of written content here. So
yeah,